welcome to Aaron Plays. In this episode we'll continue my playthrough of Nemesis, Burma 1944 by Legion War Games, game designed by Kim Ganger. In the last episode we did the Japanese initial offensive with their assault chit, and the Allied players' now responses with their assault chit. The Japanese attack that came in here didn't go too well, so the actual, because if this had been, they would have been cut off. So the 20th Division have got the option now to actually fall back. The 17th Division here have now got the option to actually try and escape too, because with the assault chit is when you get most of your movement as well. So the restrictions are the same for both sides. So the Allies can actually still do 3 attacks from one hex to another hex, and the same as the Japanese. So what to actually do with the Allies? Let's start down here in the Tidham Road. Tidham's worth 2 satisfaction points. Is that worth fighting over? And I think the question is no. So we need to get through this Japanese unit here. But moving into here costs 2 movement points. Can we bring anything else to bear on here? And remembering that we can only attack from 1 hex. So if we're from this side, we could get 2 infantry units and an artillery unit to attack there. So I think that's probably the way to go. That was neighbours delivering parcels. So yeah, so we're going to do most of the move for the 17th Division, trying to get out. So there's an extra movement cost for that ambush, but yeah, we're okay with that. So that's because we're moving along the road. There are zones of control in here because it's quality 3 unit, but zones of control is just stopping operational stretch, which we're not doing. So looks like we're leaving that little unit behind, and bring some guns up. So that concludes their movement, and I'm going to mark that to remind myself that is definitely going to be 1 attack coming in. So now the guys in and around Tamoy. Now there's 6 objective points floating around there, but I think the British have got to pull back. So because of zones of control, again, they can't do operational stretch. They're limited by their 4 movement points, but there is a path coming through. So that's just 1, 2, 3 back to Pale. So I'm going to mark that as such. Now, but the problem is, see, this is a motorised unit. It can't use that path. So how did he get there in the first place? Because path in mountain is 2. Can it use that path? Sometimes it is good to refer to the rules. Yes, motorised units can move along paths. They just can't attack along them or project a zone of control along them, but they can move along them. So, and along that path, the terrain cost, path in the mountain, is 2. So that would be 2, 4, back to Pearl. So again, 1, 2. I think it's maybe worthwhile putting some defence in order here 1, 2, and that's the amount of that that's going to cost another 3, so they haven't got enough movement to do that. So I might just leave those 2 there. And this guy, this is definitely getting out of dodge. 1, 2. Let's put him in front of 3 there. Okay. So the guy that's in play will now move and try and force a link up here with the escaping or trying to escape 17th Division. So 1, 2, 3. That's strictly true. 1, 2, 2.5. He can't do an operational stretch because the ambush stops that. So that's as far as he can get there. So whereas, you know what? No, let's not move him there. So still think about him. There is a really good unit, the 23rd Infantry Division here. So it's going to go 1, 2 for the road there, but at least we now have some form of link up with the, or attempted link up anyway. Right, so now we've got to look at what to do about this kind of threat in and around here, because this road is obviously vulnerable. Impala itself gets its supplies straight from the board edge over there near Khmer and Dimpur. And if this road is cut, there's enough supplies in here which is generated by, there is a big counter here. Where is it? Right at the bottom of the stack, which says full supplies. And if that road is cut, these units will be in limited supply from this counter here. Okay, so let's put this, so that's still there. Okay, so let's put all that back together. I made a complete hash of it now. Right, so there's quite a lot of artillery sitting there and a not so great infantry unit, but we might want to move him out. Because you can't, artillery on their own, not so good, not so clever. So, remembering that quality 2 units only give zones of control in adjacent paths and roads if those paths and roads come out of the hex they're in. So, placing a unit here with quality 2 it stops the movement through that hex, but the Japanese can just walk around it. Quality 3 units, that would be useful. But there is a slight dearth of those at the present moment. So probably the best place would be in there's a 3 here, so he's projecting a zone of control here. So let's give him, if we can, some backup. So that would be 1, 2. Into there. 3. So there is a zone of control, so actually putting it, so it's 1, 4 to there. So there's a zone of control and then an actual unit. And let's give some of these some support. So 1, 2 along the path into there. So that's the 3 units that can go in there. Can't get the guns into this hex itself because there's no path or road and it's a motorized unit. So nothing we can do about that. However, these guys in and around Jessam, we can. So that would be 1, 2. Move that camera just just a little bit. 2.5, 3, 4.5. Oh, wait a minute, there's a Japanese zone of control there. Well, that stops stretch. I'm not stretching. 4.5. The path is 2 moving points, isn't it? On him in a mountain, so he actually can't get there. So, no use. However, this tank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 can get in there. He's not got zone control out of there because, well, he has. He's got zone control there along the pass. So we're going to move this infantry in here, and he can get gun support. 1, 2, 3, or 2.5, 3, 4.5 into there. So we've got zone of control here, and we've got actual physical units there and there. Any need for this armoured unit, we'll send him down there. Okay. There's a HQ in this hex here. We don't really need him at the present moment. So that's the British, should I say, Commonwealth units on that side of the board. As I showed in the previous videos, I'm going to move the units on the other side of the board and then give a brief summary what I've sort of done. The Yunnan front, I'm going to actually make a roll for because it's the first chit that the Allies have in each turn. You actually roll to see if the Yunnan forces under Chiang Kai-shek actually activate. Now at the present moment that marker's in the 1 box, so on a 1 they activate. Let's bring that down. No. So all they can really do is move in and around near their supply sources or on top of other units of theirs, and they can't attack. So not much happening on that front. On the Chindits, which are sitting here, there's one there. As they didn't move, I've dug them into giving them bunkers. Now the Allies have got less bunkers counters than the Japanese, so that's pretty much them done. And what they're actually sitting on, they're sitting on airfields. This one's sitting right on the railway and blocking it. This one's sitting on an airfield. This one here is sitting on a nice bit of road there. They're all in limited supply, but that doesn't stop them building bunkers. And over in this front, I've just moved the Allies up, preparing for their attack chit rather than their offensive. They don't have the teeth to come attack out of 1 hex against the Japanese, especially as this Japanese is dug in and this one's sitting in the mountains. So but maybe when the attack chit comes out, either those two will attack there or those two will attack there. It depends on obviously the order that these chits come out now. So that's the Allies done, movement wise. We have 1 attack coming in, which is again this one over here, where we're trying to get out of the Tidham Road. So the attack has been done by 2 6 infantries and an 8 artillery. So that is 14 plus 8 is 22 to 4. So that's 5 to 1 to start with. Quality wise, we're leading with a 3 infantry against a 3. So they're the same. There's no terrain effects. However, the Allies have got artillery support, so they've got enough support to push that into the 7 to 1 column. So 7-1 with whatever's on this dice here. With a 2. For a start, that's not great. That increases the Japanese satisfaction. Yes. 1 slot each time you roll a modified 5 or more, or your opponent rolls a modified die roll of 2 or less. So General Mutagachi is really happy about that. However, it is still a 7-to-1 attack. I could have actually thrown some air in there. Why didn't I think of that? But there we go. 7-to-1 attack with a 2 is 1/1R. So both sides take a step loss. So let's do that. So for the Japanese, this regiment is now removed. 1 battalion goes into the Japanese losses box, and 1 battalion is put back there, and that increases their lament by 1. Then the Allies will lose 1 step off the lead infantry unit. Okay. Then the retreat result. Again, the retreat is a sort of a little sub-game, but the Allies have put a 3 forward, the Japanese have got a 3. The Japanese can remain there if they were prepared to take another step loss, effectively fighting to the last man. And that would mean that Hex is Japanese controlled. Not knowing what the next chit is, if it was the supply chit of the Allies, that could be a little, I mean, they would have to use air supply, but I think force preservation, and we will retreat him into the mountains here with their mules. Which means these guys can advance. But how many of them to advance is the question. Let's move 1 of the infantry and the artillery and keep this infantry on that ambush marker to remove it at the end of any phase. If you're stacked with them, it can be removed. So the road battles continue. That was, or is, the only Allied attack. So the next stage is actually a random draw to determine what the next chit is. So the Japanese have got 3 chits sitting in there. Give them a good shake. Sticking above my head so I can't see it. And I'm drawing it out. It's the Japanese supply check stage. So that's their phase 2. Which I will show in the next video. So at this point, yeah, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. The little alarm bell if you like notifications that I'll put up a new video. And any comments, as always, will be much appreciated. And therefore, until next time, all the best. Bye.